if you've even heard that, but now that you know.
Well, it's an honor, of course, to be singled out and say that I'm playing well. All that does for me is motivate me to play better, and me knowing myself that I know that I can play a lot better. That shows that I have high expectations, and it's an honor to be said that I'm playing well, and I'm gonna keep at it and keep going at it.
Why are you playing well? He said specifically the last 2 games he thinks you've really played well. Like, why do you think that is?
I don't know. I can't really say. I just, it kind of turned on for me. It kind of clicked the last 2-3 games, and right now I feel like I'm improving, and I think the whole defensive line, not just me. I think the whole defensive line is improving incredibly. You gotta give credit to other guys because they're out there stepping their games up the last 2-3 games, and I'm proud of all of them guys, and they're giving all they have.
The defense as a whole, you guys have such a small margin for error. I mean, USC, you would have to shut them out to win. Penn State, you would have to held them to a field goal to win. Just talk about that. You guys have such a small margin for error. You almost have to be perfect, it seems like.
Well, yeah, it all depends, and in this day in football, you have to be perfect. Especially, we hold ourselves to high expectations. We like 13 points or 20 points. That's not good enough. Our goal is to shut teams out every week, and if it's not a shutout, of course, we didn't expect it because we also not just shut them out but score points on the board. We have high expectations. We want to, whatever it takes to win, we have to do it.
Nader, did y'all ever have a group meeting of defensive linemen to 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, where y'all actually sat around and said, "Hey, let's step up the act"? Did that actually, did you actually have a meeting like that, or what? Where do you trace this back to? Number one, did you have a meeting? I was sort of like a,
Well,
I'm gonna say come to Jesus, but you know what I mean. Come to.
I understand, yeah. But all year long, in the beginning especially, we knew that we had the potential and we had the players to do it, and just for some reason it wasn't clicking. We weren't doing what we had to do, and we were always talking about we have to get better because we're not playing up to our potential. And all the talking really pretty much stopped. I think that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped all the talking because we know the talking wasn't doing nothing. And then ever since then, we stepped up our game and we showed it instead of talked about it.
Yeah.
And guys were just stepping up to the plate and performing incredibly. And it shows that it's not really all about that talk. It's about going out there and taking care of business.
I just wonder too, though, is it like Thaddeus? When you've got a guy like Thaddeus Gibson who suddenly is a factor, on the edge, how much it changes everything else. And number two, he did kind of have to grow into that position a little bit, didn't he? And just talk about how he's come along and what the threat he brings from the edge helps everybody else.
Oh, definitely. That is, we always knew that he's going to be a great pass rusher for us because he has great speed and great strength. And at first, he's having a couple trouble here, learning the plays, but now lately, man, he turned it around 100%. He knows all his plays, and he's out there performing to his capability, and he's out there with a lot more confidence. I don't think he had that confidence, early in the season because maybe he didn't have a couple belts, a couple snaps under him. But now he's out there. He has confidence. You can tell when he's playing out there, and he believes in himself. And I think that's the number one thing out there that really changed it. But I'm proud to see him actually showing up to his potential, and he's doing a great job out there.
Are you guys preparing to face 2 quarterbacks this weekend?
Oh, definitely. C.J. Palmer, we're expecting, because he's a great quarterback, and the other guy, number 14, he's more of a runner, and the other guy's more of a passer. But we're getting each other, we're getting prepared for both of them. We're definitely not focusing on one.
I know earlier this season you guys had some problem containing guys, keeping them in the pocket. Is that a big focus this week then?
It all depends who's at quarterback. All of our defenses, we're still not going to slow up for nobody. We're not going to try to be cautious. Us as defensive linemen, we're going after them, and we're going to get him out the pocket, and we're going to have guys out there spying him. So, we'll be able to have guys spying him, make sure he doesn't run away. But, we can't play cautious. We got to play relentless, and that's our number one thing right now.
You're going against another spread team that, like you said, when Kafka's in there, he had 217 yards rushing last week. Heck, he runs inside on the zone play almost as well as a running back. It looked like, but what do y'all feel like y'all are better than ever or more prepared than ever to go against a spread type attack like this, Nader?
Yes, definitely. I think we believe that we have confidence now in ourselves, and it doesn't matter if we're playing a spread team or a base team or smash mouth football. It doesn't really matter who we're playing, just as long as we're taking care of our responsibilities and we keep playing to our potential and not getting satisfied saying that we did good. last week or the week before because we didn't win the game, and that's all that counts for us. But the number one thing is to try to get better every week, every day. Every day try to get better, and that's our main goal right now. And as long as we keep doing that, I have no doubt in our defense.
For defensive linemen in particular, though, what is the key when you're going against a spread team? Especially the way these guys like the zone block and stuff. What do you have to keep in mind on Saturday more than anything else?
Especially with a zone team like this, our number one thing is as defensive linemen, all the zone they be doing. It's just use your hands and start to stay on your feet. Don't let nobody chop you down. Always stay active in the play because if you get cut, boom, that's where they get the gaps and everything. So as long as defensive linemen we stay on our feet and use our hands and stay active, we'll be able to stop them.
With Sutton being out this week, how much do you think that'll affect them?
Well, it's. I can't really say, because he was a great back for him, and I know he pretty much put the offense on his back. But even though he's out, I know they got guys that can step up to the plate, and like the other day, the quarterback, I don't think he broke some type of record. All the rushes he had, I don't know, 200 something yards. But they got guys to step up and make the play at all times.
When you're preparing for them to play these two quarterbacks during the week, what does the team do to simulate that in practice? Do Joe just run as a scout team quarterback, or do you see different looks in a quarterback, or how does that work?
Yes, we have two different quarterbacks. We got a guy wearing 14, and we got a guy wearing 18. We have to be aware who's that quarterback, and we practice and we play as who's that quarterback. If 14's out there, we know that he's more of a runner. We got to be aware, but not cautious, but aware, and we just have to be able to learn the whole offense.
Who's been playing 14 this week? You notice who was in 14?
I think Bosman was at 14.
Bosman?
Yeah.
Nader, as you guys put the tape in from Penn State, what were some of the positive things that you saw coming out of the game? What were some of the negative things that maybe, as a defense, that you really thought about from that game?
I think the positive thing is that we didn't quit. We were fighting all the way to the end, and that shows a lot. Whatever adversity happens, you can't just hang your head and say it's over. I saw guys out there, fighting to the last down, and and as a defensive line, we took a step forward, and just the positive things. You always got to look at that and make sure that everybody's out there giving all they had, and that's all we ask for the younger guys, and just give it everything you have for these seniors, and that's the number one thing I look for is make sure that nobody ever gives up and where everybody's out there fighting to the very end.
Did you watch a Texas Tech game?
Yes.
As a defensive player, when you see a game like that, do you see a thing of beauty and a thing that's ugly?
The thing that jumped out at me that game was Texas Tech defensive line. I saw that game; they were getting after the offensive line, and that's pretty much wins games, defensive lines, and they dominated that game.
Nader, when you look at where you guys are now, 7-2, the last 2 years at this point in the season, you were 9-0, number one in the country. Does it feel any different walking around in practice at all that you're not number one? Is there any outside pressure or anything that's lifted, or what's it like being in a different spot this year?
Well, right now we're just, Coach Tressel, he keeps, stressing that you never know what can happen, especially in November play. It's still people got 4 or 5 games left. You never know what's going to happen, so we got to keep fighting. And, as long as we win the rest of our games, we'll find out where we lay out, but let's not regret anything, that we gave up or anything. Right now, that's the last thing on our minds is that we're going to finish out the season, successful, and whatever happens.
What do you expect out of